The Y2K problem, chapter 5.
The whole game. The YIIK problem.
Yeah. Why did they name it that?
YIIK. I think it's pretty fitting.
I'll never think of this game as Y2K. I always think of it as YIIK.
Yeah.
I have to like correct myself.
Like how even on the Steam page it was like it had in parentheses like Y2K.
So
it's snowing.
How do we get back to Frankton?
The same way you always do. You're not in a weird place right now, Alex.
I'm not sure. Maybe we can take a bus?
Why are you asking the robot how to navigate your own world?
Ugh, bus.
What?
I really hate public transportation. Ugh. My mom never picked me up from school.
How is this coming up for the first time now? And also, why are you a whiny little shit when you just found out the world's ending? Like, this tone is weird.
Okay, A, you were on a bus earlier, so why did this come up before? B,
it was our only way around until we suddenly had Claudio's truck.
Most people don't like public transportation. It's just something you have to do. And C, your mom's not obligated to pick you up from school, you idiot. She was working so you can go to fucking college. So she had a job.
She was a single parent because your dad walked out, and you have... Also, it's a school bus. It's a very different thing than public transport.
Yeah, it's not public at all. I mean, not really.
Oh.
Are there keys in this van?
You took a Greyhound from school? What's wrong with your school?
That is weird, actually.
What the fuck?
I have seen many realities, and this one is by far the least prepared for public transportation. Perhaps if you lived in a better reality, your country would be more equipped to handle traversing the countryside.
The secrets just did not live in the United States, where it's just too big and expanded too quickly, and it's too awkwardly sparse. So public transport's like breaking over. It's just bad. It's just bad. Live in the UK.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
Japan has like really good.
Why are we having this public transport talk now?
This is really weird. Also, Alex, you could have learned how to fucking drive.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Just saying, I'm gonna throw that one out there too.
You clearly live in a really spaced out part of the country. Like,
you don't live in LA.
In that part of the country, people just have driver's licenses, like everyone does. It's weird if you don't have a driver's license and you live in this kind of part of the place.
Yeah, the amount of time it would take me to get to work if I had to.
Yeah, like everyone has a driver's license, and almost everybody has has a car, like even if it's like some shitty beat down thing they got from like a lot. Like they're like, it's practically mandatory for this part of like this part of the country. You have to live in like New York or LA to not have a car.
Well, and the only reason, like we've talked about this before, but the only reason that that's more viable is because the amount of money you'd spend on paying for parking there is actually not worth even having the car. Like that's the difference. Is like I had a friend from LA who was explaining how much money he would have had to spend on parking in the brief period in which he did have a car, how much money he was spending on parking per month.
Yeah.
And it was just not worth doing. You work like an 8-hour job, you don't have parking at your job. You're paying for a full day's amount of parking every day, and it's like $40.
5 days without internet.
Oh no.
The ultimate crime. How's it been 5 days and I still don't even have any more spam?
Yeah, they obviously don't know how the internet actually works.
So unrealistic. Not even one like prince that wants my money so he can give me money, paradoxically. Ooh, we're getting close. Not totally supernatural, but no, that's Michael. Yeah. What do you consider to be the best single piece of evidence for the existence of Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts? If you could have proof of one, which would it be?
Just of those three?
Yeah.
See, I think I'm always Bear's Necessity, and I don't remember the voice, so sorry everyone.
That's fine.
Inconsistency.
No, there's too many of them.
Ghosts seem to have the most proof. People have believed in them for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Human beings don't just make stuff up like this. There is always a basis of fact, even in the lies.
Oh yeah, Bear's Necessity was one of the people where I suspected there might be a Rory, but probably not.
I
think there was one thing that stood out as maybe, but then the rest, something else contradicted immediately.
I don't think ghosts have any proof. I think the whole human beings don't just make up stuff like this is completely not true. And I don't believe in any of those things.
Yeah.
I do think aliens probably exist just by like the sheer amount of space that exists and likelihood that we're not special.
Also, UFOs doesn't mean aliens. In fact, it's a designation that didn't have anything to do with aliens. It's just an unidentified flying object. Like,
that's true.
So they do literally exist.
I just don't think I like that whole mathematical the
Fermi paradox.
Is that what it's called? Where it's like the likelihood that any alien would be at, or any aliens would be like at our level of communication at the same time that we are able to communicate, like in the grand scheme of like our planet's timelines.
It's like the idea that it takes so many millennia for intelligent life to evolve, and then out of nowhere they advance super quickly, can suddenly communicate with outer space and travel through outer space and explore, and then maybe exterminate themselves shortly thereafter. Like,
they have to want to talk to us, first of all. They have to even be interested in that. They have to be on a level of communication that allows them to be able to talk to other planets and do space travel at the same time that us as human beings are able to interpret these messages. Then even if they're able to send us messages, the likelihood that it'd be in a way that we could ever understand or even receive is like a whole nother problem. Mm-hmm. And like the amount, like proximity, like they'd have to be close enough to us to even know that we exist in the first place. And like I said, want to talk to us at all.
Because the Fermi paradox, I think, is based around this idea that like there's so many, like statistically, there's enough planets throughout existence, because existence is so big, that there's so many of them that could potentially support different variations of life that could eventually evolve like we are, and so on. And so the fact that we haven't had any contact leads to like a series of questions about why we haven't, like one of which is like, are we just somehow genuinely unique in the universe? Or is all life doomed to exterminate itself shortly after advancing? Or is faster than light travel just an unsolvable problem? And so it's just like there's a bunch of life out there, and there's a bunch of different civilizations, but it's just the reality is so big, and you can never travel fast enough to actually solve that problem. So we're like functionally we'll never interact.
So I think that you and I are talking about different things, but that like, because like the one I'm thinking of is like an actual, like somebody made an actual formula using all those factors.
Yeah, no, the Fermi paradox is a response to that, but I don't remember what the name of the equation is.
But either way,
or the constant or whatever.
I believe that life out there exists because the likelihood that it doesn't is smaller than the likelihood that it does. I just don't think we will ever communicate with them or ever have communicated with them, and like the likelihood of that happening, I think, is near impossible. It's the
big 2020 quarantine mood for all of reality. We're all social distancing forever by several light millennia.
I hope there's some plan out there. It'd be really funny to me if there was some plan out there that could talk to us but just didn't want to, because they're just like
that was trending on Twitter recently.
They just look gross.
That like an astronaut from like I think it might have been like the Russian space program or something like that. It was like saying that like, yeah, aliens already exist, they just won't talk to us because we're not ready. Which is like definitely like the kind of like fuck with everyone thing you can do when you're like, haha, I'm from a space program, so I can just make things up just to troll everybody, and they'll be like, oh, see, evidence. The guy from NASA, but not NASA, says it. Other NASA, someone else's NASA.
I wouldn't want to talk to us if there's
I don't remember what country it was. It's funny this comes up because Paper Shivers was the person that at one point suspected it might be Claudio, but probably isn't. I don't really think there is proof for any. That's why a place like this exists. We want to believe, and we do. I can feel that there is something out there that connects us all, you know? So if I put out feelers into the universe, I can start to find things like ghosts, missing people. I'm hoping one day to get good enough that I can locate people. Confirmation bias is certainly a problem in this form, but that's part of the one. There are indeed unidentified objects, not aliens, not interdimensional crafts, not ghosts, and not any of that supernatural fiction. As simple as it can be said, we don't know what it is. And when we can't explain it, we can't study it. Therefore, it's outside of the realm of science. And if it's up to us to try to understand it. Smiley face.
Wow.
That's not in character.
You're right, he never smiles. As for UFOs, I think the ones reported by commercial pilots and the military hold a lot of water. Some really amazing stuff. Last summer I went out to Roswell. It was truly unbelievable. I hung out with a bunch of people and we all exchanged stories about things we saw in the sky. And man, I could feel that it was real. Down to more core.
More core. 7 years ago.
Hardcore. Ghosts have a nice amount of proof too. Ghosts, we call them, Spirit and I, have extraordinary first-person evidence. I have had visions, full-on contact, and demonstrations. The brain is powerful. It can tap into the world between worlds, the afterlife, if you will. It is sensitive to image induction and visualizations originating from another source, such as a different entity. The more open-minded you are, the more you can feel the ghosts out there. Be open-minded and you'll feel them too. I guess I'm just not open-minded at all.
Oops. Yeah.
I am in theory, just not, I'm open-minded to evidence. Like an asshole.
He's one of those people that doesn't even check his own message to see if it makes any sense. Like, I just kind of spewed a bunch of words out and forgot what I was writing halfway through each sentence, and then...
Word salad.
Amen, brother. Ghosts are real. The dead aren't gone forever, and they never will be. Thank the Lord. Spoken like a true DoorDash delivery person. Wow.
Y'all read that one.
Wow. Have fun. Psychic energy.
Annual headed. I'm gonna read this in my own voice though, because I'm not gonna fucking.
Because it's a lot.
AKA quintessence. How do you say that word, Keith?
Quintessence?
It's a word that I see and I've never said out loud, and so I don't know how to say it.
Like quintessential.
Yeah, I can say quintessential.
Is like the modified version.
Quintessence.
Quintessential. Quintessence.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
The consciousness that fills 89% of the universe. Thanks to this and evolution, one day our offspring will be able to travel the universe, if not the multiverse, by thought alone. What I'm about to explain is how telekinesis works. It's just a matter of evolution. Helix waves, the energy put forth by strong and focused thought, have the potential to initiate a fundamental paradigm shift in the very nature of our reality. They are the missing link between mind and matter. This is the missing link of what binds physical to the unphysical. Once scientists finally acknowledge the existence of helix waves, things never thought possible will happen. Problem is, they are afraid of validating the perspectives of mystics and occultists, my kind of people. Various researchers consider helix waves as being synonymous or identical with the consciousness itself. This means once scientists start studying this, we could possibly meet other versions of ourselves in the multiverse. Since helix waves are fundamental and defining features of the cosmos, we can see how consciousness has a real and detectable force, which can act on the environment both locally and remotely. Suddenly the notion of something like psychokinesis is not so paranormal. I think helix waves is Hexless waves are stronger in some than others. It is very possible that due to the natural selection, we will soon be able to use it on a widespread basis. Sure, some people, maybe even some onism users, can use it. And if you guys get laid and produce fertile offspring, natural selection will bring it out.
If you guys get laid. Yeah, I like to think that the creator of this game just churned out the entire forum and all of its text in like one afternoon in one draft, just for maximum like realism. Because it's just like a word soup of mess where people don't format their messages, and there's so many typos and mistakes, or like sentences where they forget halfway through the sentence what they were writing, and so like the tense changes, or like they just like repeat a word or it all falls apart. It's like, oh, it's like real messages.
Sometimes when I read a part that is very obviously written incorrectly, it makes me question whether or not I've skipped a line, and so I have to like sit there and like figure out if I skipped a line or not. Like if I like halfway through a line like went down.
Obsolete lonely. It's the black pillar of this forum. Very interesting. So, do you have any basis for the existence of helix waves? I did a quick internet search and I couldn't find anything other than this post. Do you have any more information about this?
I'm sorry, I should have explained myself. I got all this from a paper Nyla L. Amin. She says, that's one of the people that...
I think it's one of our people.
It's one of our people the robot deals with. She's a scientist from the Middle East who is studying the multiverse and astral projection via helix waves. Yeah, so that was her. We saw her.
Do you have a link to her research? I searched her name and she doesn't seem to exist. Maybe in your multiverse, not mine.
Dude, is Annual headed secretly like very...
like I was about to say like how are you accessing Nyla L?
Yeah,
I mean,
Nyla,
like, she's not in this reality.
Yeah, she's in a different one.
But
I don't know. We're almost at the end.
But there's new ones at the top. Novel granola. There's this theory. There is this theory is that when electronics are split into two, it will reach the first screen and travels through both slits simultaneously. It then interferes with another version of itself that exists within the same plane, thereby causing a wave effect on the wide screen. In quantum physics, this is called the principle of non-locality, where something exists in two places at once. It is not restricted to one location in time and space, but it becomes omnipresent. Space. What if our souls are like this? What if there are multiple versions of ourselves out there? What if this entire message board is just one person talking to themselves from a bunch of different realities? Well, I mean, I know the other people. I know at least 2 people from this message board. Or I know 3 people from this message board. So no, granola. you're just lonely. I keep thinking about the double slit experiment. That's the name of the experiment I was talking about above. Space. The results we get are a strange beyond normal explanation, and I can't get it out of my fucking head. Space. Could it be that everything in this universe is ultimately energy, and energy is influenced by mind? ... Space. All of existence is fundamentally an unlimited quantum field of energy, a sea of infinite possibilities waiting to happen. This is the nature of reality. Thoughts, guys? Expensive dick.
Sorry, you got to voice expensive dick again because you have a voice for expensive dick, and it's your pompous.
I've got the premium dick.
I like that voice.
This is fantastic. I've been trying to explain how the double slit screen experiment shows that our thought influence waves into particles.
What?
This is a frustrating voice when the sentence doesn't make sense. When it turns into word soup, you're like a smug bot.
Well, because like the voice comes off as like,
does Bruno Mars is gay?
Well, does he?
Does he? How just looking at something can influence it. This is proof that our thoughts can influence the very nature of reality. I'm glad someone drew this same conclusion. Space. It's only a matter of time until science comes around to the metaphysical aspects of consciousness. Just by discussing this, we are driving our minds into the 4th dimension! ! Spam.
I'll be fertile boogeyman. That's how I like my boogeyman.
I don't like how fertile is capitalized.
He wants to drive home the message.
Like expensive is capitalized, but novel's not, and neither is
well, it's just about the things that matter. Like the expensive part matters, and the fertility matters of this boogeyman. Do you want more boogeymen? Talk to this guy.
It's because the capital words are like compliments. I guess novel would be a compliment. I don't know.
No, I mean, yeah, not well. It depends on how you. I use the word novel.
It's fertile bogeyman.
Yeah. Well, I wanted more boogeymen.
Fertile boogers.
But I don't want more bogeymen, and so I'm gonna say no to that one.
I think he's calling himself Dick Sneeze.
Dick Sneeze.
Because they're bogeys. Like when you sneeze.
Oh, like a boogie. I don't know. Dick Sneeze. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna think about that forever.
You've never heard that before?
No, but that's interesting. Well, it couldn't. I don't know what voice to give him now. It couldn't be more obvious that neither of you understand the double slit experiment. You're projecting a bunch of shit onto it that doesn't actually matter. This really shouldn't be onism. Since this website is about the occult and the supernatural, not shitty pseudoscience. I guess while I'm here, I'll give you guys a little science lecture. First, it's a photon, not electron. Do you know the difference? If you don't, go back to middle school. Second, it splits into 2 halves. Each half goes through one of those slits. Then it recombines on the other side like a drop of water. None of that metaphysical bullshit you made up. Matter does not appear, only when observed. That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Retards. Do us all a favor and go kill yourself, you fucking loser.
Wow, they went really aggro.
Jeez Louise.
they were
Don't let that person reproduce. Don't let them reproduce their meme.
Yeah, you have to stop about 100% of the time because he's very fertile. What a huge asshole. But it's also funny to have somebody like get really frustrated at people like misappropriating physics for irritating pseudoscience.
Why are you on this website then?
Like, it reminds me of the meme of how like every visual novel brings up Schrodinger's cat and they all misinterpret how like what it means. Like almost forcefully. Like there's so many like
I think it's not even just visual novels. I think it just shows up a lot.
There's other games too, but it's there's like the ongoing meme where there's like the photo compilation of all the visual novels. They bring up Schrodinger's cat like in Zero Escape, and a lot of them just straight up don't understand what Schrodinger's cat is, and they like force it to fit whatever narrative thing they're trying to fit in their game. Harsh words by Fertile Boogeyman, but he's right. You're not actually paying attention to what the experiments are really about. You have your own ideas that you're trying to force into a scientific fact.
Yeah, you could have just said that, Fertile Boogeyman. Yeah. You didn't have to go into that rant and call us retards.
There's aggressive people. Car accident from when I was a child. It's why I always yell. This is the one I thought was Rory, but it probably isn't. My first experiment with the supernatural occurred when I was a child. But when my dad was healthy enough to drive, he would take me and my sister for long rides on the countrysides and to the beach. We'd rarely get out of the car, but that wasn't the point. When we were on the road, we'd be able to think clearly and leave behind a lot of our problems. We even stopped fighting. Do you have that many problems when you were a kid? We even stopped fighting when we went for these drives. One day, my mom and my sister decided to stay home when we went for our drive. I'm glad they did. We got into a really bad accident on the parkway. A truck driver plowed into the side of the car, but then no one talked about back then no one talked about buckle safety, so I went flying into the front of the car. Gotta hate finding where I left off whenever I scroll. It was really messy. My dad and I were upside for a really long time, just waiting for help to come. Too injured to move. We heard yelling, knocking on the car. 2 men were standing there. My vision was really screwed up, so I couldn't enter. No one's heard of paragraphs in this fucking forum, so I couldn't really see what they looked like, but I could feel something strange about them, something powerful but friendly. They told us we'd be okay. Then I realized my car was filling up with water, or maybe it was gas. We couldn't tell. How could you not tell? My dad and I started screaming. They told us that we'd have to remain calm. That's what we did, or at least we tried to. The men started moving outside the car, and then it was over. The car was turned up front, completely dry, and my dad and I were both back our seats. I hate this person. And my buckle was on. We got out of the car and started to check the car for damage. Everything was completely fine. Everything except for a big cut across my dad's forehead and an indedicital one across mine.
That is misspelled in so many ways that I don't know how it happened. I'm looking at this and I'm like,
it's hard. It's so far from any correct word that it could be incidental or identical.
It's supposed to be identical.
I think it might be identical because it's also on his forehead.
Yeah, but like, come on, yo.
It's okay now. Okay, so it's definitely not Rory because he has a giant forehead scar.
Okay, well that solves that problem.
Oh wait, Rory, you can't see Rory's forehead.
Oh
my god.
Mystery.
It's scarred over. It's really ugly. So I wear my hair long now because my mom says no woman would ever find it attractive if they could see it. Well, you know, Mom, you're just a leg.
Yeah, so it might be Rory then.
Jesus Christ.
We drove back home.
We drove back home, being really careful, and a mile before our exit, we saw a crash. That was exactly like the one we just experienced. My dad and I talked about it in complete disbelief. We decided we'd never tell Mom. So after years of you're just gonna never tell Mom about the time you got like a permanent giant face scar?
Well, no. The other crash, the other identical crash.
So after years of keeping this a secret, I decided to share it with you. I often lay awake thinking about the two men who saved us. My grandmother would say they were probably angels, but I'm more inclined to believe they were extraterrestrial. So if aliens do read this forum, as I would like to believe they do, thank you guys for saving me and my dad that day. It was a serious bro move. What a bro.
Yo, what a bro.
I feel like this is Rory, and they wrote this message as a weird creepypasta that's poorly spelled, because that's just the type of videos he makes. Is he reads badly spelled creepypastas and reads them literally.
Maybe.
So it might be them.
Maybe it might be a nod.
Another reference to the inconsistent formatting of the site. Like, all of his text is consistently cutting off at the same length, where other people like run off the screen and shit. But also, this person has a reply icon.
Yeah.
Which doesn't like what?
I mean, hasn't everyone been replying to everyone?
Yeah,
like,
but there aren't normally there's not normally reply icons, right? Am I imagining that? Yeah, they're not normally there, but it's a thread, so they're all replies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they should all have that.
Sometimes those are. I think they did just do this in one draft, which both adds and subtracts from the believability. So it's vivid appears.
I had a similar experience once. I don't have anyone who can back it up, though, like your dad. I was riding on a bike in the woods on my way to school back in the 80s when I hit a rock, flipped over, and rolled down a rocky hill, severely injuring me in the process. I blacked out and woke up to two figures, each with one hand on me, telling me to be strong and to accept the things I can't change. I started to scream as I realized I was in the river and I was submerged into the water. I stopped panicking, just like they told me, and I was lifted from the water. I told my family the story and they didn't believe me. I was only 11 when it happened, so I guess I can't really blame them. I don't know if I imagined it, but ever since then I had an interest in the supernatural. I wonder if there could be a connection between the two who saved me and the two who saved your dad. Friendly aliens traveling the world saving stupid kids getting into accidents. That'd be really cool if that was real. Smiley face.
I swear, we make a thread like this once a week, but I can't help but be compelled to see everyone's first experiences with the surreal. I've never shared my story, but I think today is as good as any to do so. When I was a kid, I had obsession with computers. I still do. My dad had this word processor with a tiny screen. One you could see like maybe 10 to 15 words at a time. That's a tiny screen.
Yeah, wow.
And he'd work on it. And when he was done, I was allowed to use it, so I started writing stories. I don't really remember what they were about, but they were pretty stupid. One day I started a ghost story. I remember how it goes. It was pretty bad. The Incandenza family appeared to be ordinary people during day-to-day life, but when photographed, they looked distorted. On St. Patrick's Day of 1992, the family is photographed at a local parade. Aw, it's a parade for parades.
Oh, that's like...
It's a parade for, like, parade pride. they were like, we take pride in our parades. Here's a parade for the parades.
It's like each float is like a float with a bunch of tiny floats on it to, like, commemorate other years' parades.
We want to celebrate this long year of parades with the parade.
About parades.
When it's published in the newspaper, they're missing faces. The next day, the family moves out. People in town start talking about how weird they were. Some kids decided to break into their house and see if they left anything. They did, in fact, an old toy piano. After trading some cards for the toy piano, the main character acquires it from the kids who stole it. They say it's haunted, but it's too logical to believe in that. Or so he thinks. Refusing to believe in superstition, Mike starts to... You wrote yourself into your story?
That's
because we know Veriformer's Michael. That's one of the ones that's not a mystery.
That's funny.
Mike starts to play the toy piano, but has never played a note in his life, and yet beautiful music starts coming from the toy piano. A collage of images flashes into his mind. A giant hamster balancing on a tiny navigator. An old newspaper headline about a hit-and-run accident. a hooded rabbit ranting about minorities.
What?
Bill Clinton. Just Bill Clinton. And a drinking well located in a deserted place. He looks down at his hands and he's breaking out in spots. He realizes that the curse of the peculiar piano is true and calls in his lover, a senior called Alexandra, to help him. They're Oh, a senior as in high school.
Yeah, not like an old lady.
His ancient lover comes in to help him.
Michael's into older ladies.
Robbing the grave. They're talking and reveals that she is one of the incandensas. Alex Incandensa. Oh no. You named your alternate reality's lover Alex?
Ew. Why would you do that?
These people named Alex and Mike.
He starts writing like weird fan fiction thinking that it's anonymous about Alex and Mike's relationship, but it's actually about his love for Alex.
It's all on his like public blog that he thinks no one could see.
Because he forgot that he gave his name out to the person he's writing about.
His lover in his story is gender bent Alex.
Ew.
And that's why he has a split body in the nightmare dimension.
Well, remember the night we also saw we also saw
things.
girl Alex. Remember she talked to us.
Oh god, we did meet girl Alex.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Alex examines the piano and willingly submits herself to the curse. She finds that the same visions flash before his eyes. The visions.
She sees the hamster and the piano and the Bill Clinton and the rabbit with the racial problems.
I guess it just should have said before her eyes. I was like, wait, did we go back to Mike or still talking about Alex?
That is a good question.
Yeah. She finds the giant hamster balancing on a tiny navigator particularly chilling. Mike and Alex. Why did you do this? What? Michael. Alex is going to read this.
I know. He must have forgot.
Alex is on this forum, you know that.
No, it's about a girl named Alexandra. Don't ask me questions about it.
Stop, then call her that. Mike and Alex pursue a quest to uncover the meaning of the vision, starting with the search for the hooded rabbit. Will they be able to stop the curse before their time is up? I don't think I ever wrote an ending for it. But the next day was my cousin's birthday. We had the party at our house, and guess what? We had an ice cream cake shaped like a rabbit. I hate scrolling in this thing.
And he was gifted
a toy piano. I got really freaked out, and I went for a walk and fell into a poison ivy tree.
Well, it's not a tree.
How do you fall into a tree?
It's also not a tree. It's poison ivy's a ivy.
Yeah, it's poison oak is a tree. That's why it's called oak. Ivy is not tree. Well, and I got a really bad rash, just like from the one in the story. I started running and came across a well in the woods. The next day, I met a neighbor whose name was Alex. Oh no! Oh no! It is the same Alex.
Oh.
But they hadn't met him yet. Ever since then, I realized that thought had power. I realized that writing things and believing them can make them true, which caused me to be terrified of my own thoughts and the power they had. As time goes on, I believed it less and less, and I'm still interested in the supernatural for various reasons.
It's more so just that if you hyper focus on things, you'll notice the connections and the coincidences in your life. It's not as if like you create them by like thinking about them. It is more so that you will just...
Yeah, it's the Bernie Madoff effect.
Yeah, the Bernie Madoff effect.
Which has infinite iterations in our life all the time, but we didn't like summon those things.
I always forget the name.
Funny.
The name of the real one. I will never remember the name of the real one because we call it Bernie Madoff.
We keep warping it because Bird started that joke of saying it wrong, and now we'll never remember what it's actually called anymore.
Yeah, we're referring to something that isn't called the Bernie Madoff effect.
Myers-Briggs test.
Yeah, not that either.
It's the Streisand effect.
What is the Myers-Briggs test? Is the one that people put on their...
I think it's the 4-digit code you get.
Yeah, they're like, I see it on Tinder all the time. They're like, I'm an INFHS, in case you're wondering. And I'm like, fuck you, I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna look into it. Get over yourself.
It's like a different version of like the Zodiac, where people think it says what kind of personality they have and maybe who they're compatible with and things.
But to tell me that and just put it on your Tinder as if like it is now my obligation to go look it up to see if we're compatible. It's like, no.
Well, it's just like
Your
saying,
job
like,
is to
I'm a
convince me.
Sagittarius, and I'm like, that's nice.
I don't believe in that stuff at all, but
Except it means more than Sagittarius. 'Cause
I'm
at
really
least
good.
It's based on a test, and it's supposed to like what.
It's supposed to be a personality test. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to learn all about zodiacs in school, so I could like flirt with people. And manipulate people, because I was like trying to make it's a good way of making friends and stuff. You're just like, oh, you like that person? Well, guess what? Like, oh, his zodiac sign is this. Like, let's look at the book together. I have it in my backpack. And like, I used to just do that.
What was the weirdly
I used to read
specific
palms
one?
too. I used to do tarot because it's just like a fun way to. It's like party tricks.
Because we have like a really weird like Bernie Madoff thing happen that like every week, but there was one where the turnaround time was like 5 seconds. Oh, we've had 2 of them that were like instantaneous Bernie Madoff since like impossible coincidences. One was that you were literally browsing. This happened live on an episode. We played the Siren Head thing, and I read aloud the name of the person who created Siren Head while you were literally browsing the Twitter account of that exact person.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and neither of us knew the connection.
I didn't know the connection at all. I was looking at his recommended horror movies.
And then there was one where I was showing you the Fables comics that I have, and you started talking about how like as a kid you made like a big bad wolf sculpture.
Yeah. And
then I was like, what the fuck? And I showed you the page I was currently on, and it was the big bad wolf like statue of some kind. Like I was just paging through, so I don't know the context of that thing, but there was like a big like glass looking sculpture of Bigby, and I'm like, what?
Like he was on that page as I was talking about my big bad wolf sculpture. I just turned it around
and I'm like, that's fucking weird. It's just fun.
That happens to us often.
Noticing that stuff makes people joke about like, we're in a simulation, bro.
Nothing's real, man.
It's phantom vibrations in my pocket.
Oh no!
That just means you used text messages too much.
Is your Tamagotchi dying? Because those vibrate, right? I never had one of those.
I don't think mine vibrated.
I couldn't figure them out.
I think I got bored immediately and it died.
Yeah.
They were so rudimentary and like not very satisfying to interact with, and also it was like such a slow like long burn game that like I was like, but I have real video games. So like I think mine just like immediately was in trouble, and I was like, I'm not, this isn't fun. I don't want to pay attention to this anymore.
Do you know that there's a whole subsect of people who have those robot dogs that Sony made? I think it was Sony made like way back in the day.
Yeah, like Aibo or something.
Yeah, but they still keep them around, and
yeah, because they're emotionally attached to them, so like it's getting increasingly expensive to like track down the replacement parts to keep them living. And there's like a sub industry of just like a handful of people still trying like increasingly expensively like fixing what few of them are still around to keep those people happy. Yeah,
because there's like they're very attached to these things and they can't let them not exist anymore. Yeah. It's very sad to think about like people and their robot dogs.
We need to watch the Fake Friends documentary series by Twitchy movie sometime. That's like variations of those ideas, including like robot monks and other bizarre stuff. Like there's some really strange iterations on these ideas.
And companion cubes.
Yeah. And
the emotional attachments we have for inanimate objects.
Yeah, and incel penguins that love anime.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that penguin that got attached to the cardboard cutout of the penguin character, and they fell in love with it, and the zookeepers had to keep it in there because the penguin was in love with the cardboard cutout. Look up pictures of that. That's adorable.
You want to be reaction nod? Because I think I'm Bear's necessity.
I'll be reaction nod. I've been experiencing a strange phenomenon. Phantom vibrations in my pocket. Now, I've got a cellular phone that I use for business, and it stays on the vibrate mode, but even when I'm not carrying it, which is whenever I'm not at work, I still feel it vibrating in my pocket. I reach my pocket, tap the spot where it would be, and there is nothing there. The vibrations feel so real. Has anyone experienced this?
Congratulations, you have a tick.
You're twitching, or you have your phone there so often that you're feeling it even when it's not there.
Like somatically.
You need to not be at work as much.
It's because it's also like there's it can be two things. Like if it's a stress thing, then it's just like you're stressing about it, so it's manifesting. But also if it's in modern reality, our phones now have like algorithmically driven social networks that give you endorphin rushes with like likes and interactions all the time. So you're like you want it to happen.
You're
so
addicted
like,
to it.
Yeah, so like you start like manifesting it out of desire. You're like, do I have notifications? There's necessity. Interesting. I don't own a cellular phone, but I can imagine the sensation. My father, back when he had a job, used to carry a beeper. We'd hear the beep and know it was time for him to leave, so my dad got injured on the job and had been on welfare for 5 years. His job took the beeper back, but sometimes we'd still hear it beep in his pocket. He'll turn out his pants pockets, coat pockets, sweater pockets, and they'll be empty. It's pretty spooky. Vivid appears.
My dad is also an adopter of the cellular phone. He works for a phone company, so he's carrying. It sounds like he's talking about guns. Like he's carrying.
It sounds like it's just a baby. That he's carrying like a baby, like he's pregnant.
Well,
and
he's also
and he adopted it.
He adopted a cellular phone.
Yeah.
So he works for a phone company, so he's carrying. I've warned him about the potential radiation side effects and about the potential the phone could have for spying, but he still insists on carrying one. Could it be possible there are paranormal side effects as well? He's also reported these phantom vibrations. What is a cellular phone other than a radio? Radios have been the most viable options for picking up vibrations from the paranormal for ages. Maybe the advanced technology in the cellular network amplifies what radios can already do.
No.
No, none of that's right.
Incorrect. Veriformer. Interesting. If the cellular phone was somehow able to pick up on the extraterrestrial or the supernatural, is anyone... So many spaces, why? Is there anyone out there who might be trying to contact you? Have any relatives passed on recently? Or are you in government work?
What does that have to do with anything?
Your exciting job at the water board makes you ideal candidate for supernatural interactions.
Is that what happened when you worked on the water board?
I guess he doesn't work at the water board because he's impossible dry.
That's the opposite.
Oh my god.
Or maybe he does because it's impossible for him to be dry.
This is really interesting. My work offers cellular devices to everyone on the management track, which I'll be bumping beginning next month. I've always been perceptible to the paranormal, so I'm expecting to experience this phenomena quickly. Why the replies suddenly?
Is it possible that when you're feeling it, there's another you out there in the multiverse receiving a phone call? That's a creepy thought.
How does the formatting of this forum work? Is it like an old, like, BBC text, whatever the fuck forum that still some people technically have sometimes, like my old, like, WoW Guild used to have? Or is it Reddit? Because this is like nested Reddit replies. What the fuck's going on? Fantastic theory. If the cellular phone is actually amplifying the supernatural, it's possible that it's picking up some sort of sonic wave created by another dimension. My only issue with this theory is he's reporting the phantom vibration. He's not in possession of his phone. If it happened when his phone was on him, I'd be more likely to accept that it's from the great beyond. That is, unless carrying the phone has made him more in tune with the supernatural. Yeah, that's a big hole in your theory. Like, wow, the phone is amplifying the supernatural. It's like, but he doesn't have it on him.
Yeah, that part needs
Didn't
to
really
be...
think that part out.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish you could just disappear?
I wish I could be invisible so I could rob banks.
It's not a bad idea because the universe is about to end. You probably should get on that disappearing act. Superb pudding.
Want me to do it?
If you were truly superb pudding, you would have disappeared already because you're so delicious.
You would have been eaten already. This will be my first post on autism. I'm very excited to have found this group. Sometimes I can't help but hate this life. The monotony of the repetition of the cyclical cycles of the ordinary are really starting to take their toll, or something like that. I don't know what any of this means. I just know that I feel it in my bones. And it's all one giant spiraling circle, and it's all the same again and again every single day, and I don't like it anymore. Wake up, feed the cat, kiss the cat, go to work, have a lunch break, come home, make dinner, cry yourself to sleep, wake up, feed the cat, kiss the cat, go to work, have a lunch break, come home, make dinner, cry yourself to sleep. Blah blah blah, over and over and over and over.
Exactly the same. There is no love here, and there is no pain.
I like that song. Okay, I'm going to the part where he
eventually stops
cries to sleep, blah 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 blah.
Let's see. So I've been thinking right there on top.
Oh, so I've been thinking there has to be a way to leave it all behind, to just get it away from it all. I think I found it. Late at night, in the twilight hours, between crying myself to sleep and waking up, I can feel myself floating above my body, and I know it would just be so easy to leave it all behind. I start to move away, first through my walls, and then I'm in my attic, and then I'm floating above my house, and I can see everything. I can see everything. I can see through my neighbors' homes, into all the tiny apartments, and I'm really high up now. And then, just when I'm about to touch the stars, and I think of my cat, alone in my bed. Well, not alone, because he's on top of my body that's still in my bed. And then I'm back in my bed, and I'm awake, and I'm crying, and get out of bed, feed the cat, kiss the cat, go to work, have a lunch break, come home, blah 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 blah.
This copy paste. Let's see.
Look up a little bit.
It says my coworker. Oh, I found the site. Yeah.
And then I found this site. My coworker told me about it. He's nice. I like him. He's got good glasses and a nice smile. He says that this site helped him when he got really bored and was looking for some answers. Do you guys ever have experiences like this? Have you ever left your body?
So like, this is the part that's like potentially spoiling like what we just got to in the story, essentially. So the secret to leaving reality behind is you have to be miserable and have no connections, not even a pet.
Damn it, my dog's keeping me here.
The only reason this person hasn't vanished from existence is because kiss the cat.
Kiki, how dare you? Kiki. I'm looking at her right now. How dare you keep me in this reality? She's sleeping.
She is dead asleep. She has no awareness. She usually reacts immediately. She's like, haha, I'm pretending to relax, but I'm like very attentive of the fact that you're giving me attention.
You know, she looks very cute.
She's literally dead.
I have to kiss her. I have to, and that's why I'm stuck on this earth.
She doesn't feel the same attachment.
She doesn't feel. I don't know.
She's gone right now. Hey, Superb Pudding. Welcome to Onisum. I'm one of the mods here. I'll probably ban you later. Were you the one I banned later? Who did I ban?
It wasn't Superb Pudding. It was like somebody else who was really mean and calling people mean things.
It wasn't even, no, it was somebody that like, it was like abuse of power by, it was kind of like abuse of power by Mike, if I remember correctly, where like everybody was dogpiling on this one person and picking on them for like not liking their theory or whatever about, I think, Yosemite Park. And everyone was being horrible to them, but he said like one thing back and got banned immediately.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck you, Michael.
I do remember that.
Jesus. Welcome to Onisum. I'm one of the mods here. Glad to hear. You're also, I'm the admin. Is the way to. You made this place. So saying I'm one of the mods is a weird way to say I made this entire website.
He's trying to be humble.
Don't. Glad to hear we're able to offer you some solace in your time of need. I think what you've stumbled upon here is lucid dreaming. It's when you're asleep and you become aware that you're dreaming. Then you can control everything, provided you don't wake up. Probably, subconsciously, your desire to escape is coming through in the form of reoccurring dream. Then you wake control. You stop to float away. You're a mod, proofread. Then you wait control and you stop to float away. I hate you. Lucid dreaming is a fantastic way of escaping the stresses of your daily life, but it can be really addicting, so be careful. If these feelings continue, you should consider getting professional help. There is a good I've never heard of lucid dreaming being like a medical problem. What the fuck?
No, people usually say you should try to do it to help you with things.
Like, what are you just going to sleep all the time? That's kind of hard to do at some point.
I can't do it. I don't know how to do it.
I think that has more to do with depression than like lucid dreaming.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, lucid dreaming is supposed to help you work through problems.
So be careful. If these feelings continue, you should consider professional help. There is a good self-help and psychology forum in the link section at the bottom of the page. Check it out sometime. No, there it isn't. I've seen this website. That doesn't exist anywhere.
He's trying to make you more depressed by like gaslighting you into thinking that there are options, but you don't have any.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck? This is the supernatural forum. You're gonna be like, oh yes, normal logical explanation is your response.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
I thought this was the place where everyone feeds into the like, wow, it's like space, and then of course it's the one thing that is supernatural, because it is like the one thing that's true in this game is that this is what happens. That's how Vela got here.
Thanks, Veraformer, for the advice. I'm not entirely sure of what I'm experiencing, if if what I'm experiencing is lucid dreaming or not, because I'm pretty aware of being awake before it happens. And I'm not just lost in my thoughts, thinking about getting away and about how little I have left to care about. And then it starts to happen. The first started happening when I was a student, but I never got further than my bedroom because it's just so scary to think about leaving my cat. Do you have any other theories about what's happening?
To me, it does sound like a lucid dream, but there's also the possibility that it's astral projection. See, there you go. That's what this form's for.
Yeah, there you go.
I've read about people who could separate their minds from their bodies and explore the earth as a spirit. Maybe that's what you've tapped into. I'd be curious to see if you can successfully do it in the middle of the day. Consider trying it in the afternoon and report back. In the middle of the day. We made it to the bottom.
Wow!
But now there's all these new ones that came up because we were gone for 5 days. Missing man at Radio Tower Mountain. Sensing the presence of a past loved one. Cliffhanger for later.
Dun, dun, dun.
More drinking fountain. I like to drink from public drinking fountains.
I like to lick them.
Oh no.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't ever do
That's
that.
a crime this year.
It is a crime this year.
Although I assume every public drinking fountain is closed this year, unless you're insane. Like, even if they're not closed, who is using them?
Imbeciles.
Like, only deniers, I guess?
People don't like to use those anyway.
No.
Ha ha ha.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Rat. There's a rat.
Well, yeah,
Just
he's
one rat.
he's the Master Splinter or
Yeah, but
whatever.
there's supposed to be 4 turtles.
He killed one and replaced it.
This NES music. Oh. Wow. Yeah. Oh. Hit nothing. Oh god, no. Hit something. Please, please. Yes. Yeah, it's Master Splinter. But which turtle died? He did a bad, he rolled. That was adorable. Did I not hit one of? I think I said he did something bitchin'.
Yes, bitchin' strength
All I
or
saw
something.
was bitchin', because you can't read text in this game. Cannot stress that enough. Oops. The funny thing is that his really strong ability is stronger than his normal attack. Well, it's obviously it's stronger, but it's easier to use than his normal attack. This is easier to get damage out of than that fucking record spinning minigame that gives me anxiety.
Gnarly.
Did you say right in the manhole?
He did say that. He did say that.
I guess they do hide manholes. Oh, this is a train station. I need a bus station. Stop giving me random encounters. I'm trying to find a bus station. Where the fuck am I? Fuck! No! I don't want to play Catherine. No. Fuck! It keeps skipping ahead.
Catherine always looked like just like a fever, like an anime fever dream.
I think the game has like really... If we went through that, I think we'd find that it has a lot of really worrying things to say about relationships and women.
No, I definitely get that impression.
It's like, it's not enlightened at all. It's just kind of concerning.
I kind of like hearing people talk about women who don't understand women at all.
Yeah.
Like Alex here.
And then they made an expansion with the new version, which I think also tops that off with transphobia. Just adds that to the pile. It's like, oh no! How did you make it worse?
I recently read a book by Bukowski, and it was his book called Women, and it was just about all the women that he's interacted with, and he just fucks everyone. Like, but it's like it's a very like hollow understanding of like what women are, and it's really fascinating to me to read it. It's almost on purpose because it's supposed to highlight his lack of character in certain ways, but he's very aware of these things. I don't know. It's interesting.
Oh my god, why are there so many
side.
random encounters?
Because you don't have a repel on. Or yeah.
Yeah, you made the mistake of showering recently, so you don't smell repulsive.
Damn it, I knew.
Your natural Alex repellent. You need like a... Oh god, I'm not hitting anything. Alex needs to have like a... like you want to say incense, what's it called?
What?
A cologne. He needs a cologne that smells like his personality.
Oh no.
There's a bus station here. Remember Flagtown?
I forgot already.
Oh, it's snowy now. This is a weird visual. Places are really... Oh, it looks weird now.
Yeah, because it's a beach town. It's all covered in snow, which doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Where's that girl that I murdered? Wait, we can't go that way. She's murdered.
you gotta,
canon.
You gotta leave.
I don't want to. It's too much. It's too much work to edit her out to confirm the canon of her being dead. I was trying to remember if there was like a skateboard ramp or anything that we didn't do last time.
No, I don't think we've seen them up until we had to see them.
Stop! This is the place that had the weird fucking stop pyramid back here. And
yeah.
Like, the fuck is wrong with this place? Are you okay? Wasn't the guardrail enough to have a stop? It's not like anyone's gonna drive there. It's not a car place. There's 2 lampposts to light up the place you can't go. You think the cones would be enough? Or the stop signs? Or the guardrail? But they have all 3. This seems extreme.
They really don't want you to go over there.
Yeah, we were talking about there might be like sporting equipment, like
hula hoops
oh, yeah, there's
and
hula
hacky
hoops right
sacks.
There. Just gonna buy everything I don't have. Slightly used jersey. I can't. I don't think I even can compare right now. But I have so much money, so fuck it. I'll just buy 1 of every piece of equipment I don't have yet.
You're my favorite
I don't
customer.
think any of those were hula hoops.
No, and none of them are hacky sacks
I got
either.
a flip flop and a sweatband and a slightly used jersey.
I don't know how you're supposed to find that stuff.
How do I
then.
buy these hula hoops?
Sir, these are in the store. How do I
Yes.
purchase these?
I hate that I have pictures. There's pictures of me that look exactly like that person. I used to wear exactly that shirt and split my hair exactly that way when I was like 12.
Yeah, dude, 90s. This is a 90s game.
Yeah, it's too accurate. Don't do this to me. It hurts me on the inside.
It reminds you of your tragic past.
Yep. All right, we're out of time.
Adios,
See you guys next time.
motherfuckers.